Hey gang, JC here, and this is the Daily Dose for Wednesday, February 22nd, 2012, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Clayton. We have great television archives at the top of the page. We have our eye candy feature right below, and over in the corner, yesterday's rock and roll poll question. Yesterday was the day after President's Day. Okay, so a lot of people had the day off on Monday, so we're sort of like piecing everything back together. So who was the best movie president? This had to be a fictional character and not from television, because a lot of people were trying to say Martin Sheen. It's like, no, you got to stick to movies. It was a photo finish, folks. Michael Douglas from The American President beats out Kevin Kline from Dave, 33 to 32%. Harrison Ford from Air Force One at 24%, and Peter Sellers from Dr. Strangelove bringing up the rear at 11%. All right, 6 years ago today, Pocahontas, Illinois native Gretchen Wilson's debut album with Redneck Woman on it went quadruple platinum. Quadruple platinum. Ended up 5 times platinum before all was said and done, as a matter of fact. And she was the hottest thing in country music. Since then, not so much. So with that in mind, what are your feelings about Gretchen Wilson? A, she was a flash in the pan. B, she'll return to prominence with time. Or C, I hope she saved the money she made. Please answer in the corner. We'll see what you guys say. This is the absolute, just the personification of gall, unmitigated gall. Remember that Indiana State Fair last year? Sugarland is getting ready to perform, and they're like, guys, they were running backstage telling them, it's getting pretty windy, we got a storm, we got a tornado watch, tornado warnings, high winds, all this sort of stuff. And they're like, no, we got to do the show because it's going to screw up the opening act, and we got to get on a bus and go to another city in time for tomorrow's show. And if we postpone it, no, we're going. Let's just go. Let's go. And the next thing you know, the stage collapses, and you got a bunch of people dead and a lot of other people injured. 40 injured, as a matter of fact. And in the legal fallout from all of that, the lawyers have now gotten involved, and they say that some of the concert goers' injuries were their own fault. Well, put that in your pipe and smoke it, huh? Their own fault because they failed to exercise due care for their own safety. So you buy a ticket for the Sugarland show, and then you go there and the stage falls on you, and it's your own fault. I have said this before, I'll say it a million times, you're going to get tired of hearing me say this. The double standard that exists between rock music and country is just deafening. Can you imagine if that was an Alice Cooper concert or just some, rock and roll band, Bob Seger, I don't care who, and a stage collapse? You'd have congressional investigations, you'd have people going to jail, you'd have 24-hour news channels setting up shop, but because it was a country act, they're going to get away with it. All right, comedian David Cross, who has been on a bunch of shows, including Arrested Development, admits he snorted coke relatively close to the President of the United States. It was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in 2009. And he sort of did it just to show off, almost like a dare. And he says he was just being able to say he did it. He's not proud of it. He says, nor am I ashamed of it, by the way. We've heard rumors that Whitney Houston's daughter, Bobby Christina, got stoned after the funeral. There's a story out there right now that says she was hammered during the funeral. I wouldn't be surprised by anything right now. Diana Agron's character on Glee last night, Quinn, she was in a bad car accident. She was texting while driving. So they crashed her car in the show, and now Glee isn't going to come back till April 10th. And when they do, this character is coming back in a wheelchair. I think that's a good idea, by the way. You got a lot of kids watching this stuff, send that message. I think that's a brilliant idea, as a matter of fact. Republican debate from Arizona on CNN tonight, 7 until 9 o'clock. Here we go again. Kanye West. Talk about a no-talent ass clown. This guy's charity spent over $500,000 in 2010, and absolutely nothing went to charitable causes. Is anybody surprised? Jessica Simpson tried to cut in line at a Mexican restaurant in Santa Barbara a couple of days ago. The crowd yelled at her, so she left. And Sacha Baron Cohen wants to attend the Oscars on Sunday as his character from the upcoming comedy The Dictator. There's no word yet as to whether or not the Academy is going to let him do it. I say they probably won't. Well, if you're ready to get your own Terminator glasses, get ready, because according to some pretty good rumors, Google is working on a pair of glasses that will stream real-time information right in front of your eyes, whatever you're looking at. You just put like sunglasses on and you'll be like looking at it right on the inside lens. They say they're going to go on sale by the end of the year. It's going to cost about the same as a smartphone. It's going to require its own data package, of course. According to researchers at Northern Illinois University, an employer can tell whether you're going to be good at your job after looking at your Facebook page for just 10 minutes. Well, let me just tell you something. I went to Northern Illinois University. I graduated from there, and I wouldn't believe anything they said. New survey has finally given us the answer. Which United States state do people hate the most? And to my surprise, the number one hated state is California. It finished just below Illinois. Congratulations over there on the other side of the river. The favorite states are Hawaii, Colorado, Tennessee, South Dakota, and Virginia. All right, I say the majority of people who answer that have never been to some of those states, because you wouldn't say that otherwise. All right, things are going to be worse as we grow older than people thought. Only 54% of us have more savings than credit card debt. 54% of us, that's it, have more savings than credit card debt. 25% of us have more credit card debt than emergency savings, and 16% don't have a credit card, don't have debt or emergency savings. 48-year-old woman pushing a stroller in El Paso was hit in her calf by a stray bullet, and that was from a shootout over the border in Mexico. President Obama, and I'm telling you this right now because one of the things that I've noticed in my business is people's inability to discriminate. And when I say discriminate, I mean that in a good way. Discriminate, has taken on a very ugly sub-definition because of racial discrimination and stuff like that. But the word discriminate, if you look it up, actually is a good word. It means to be able to tell one thing from another, be able to tell the difference between two things. And one of the things that I've noticed is people do not have the ability to discriminate. I mention that because President was singing again last night. You know, he sang "Let's Stay Together." The place went wild, it went viral, and rightfully so, because it was very surprising, it was very good, and sort of out of character, and it was the kind of thing that goes viral for good reasons. Well, now he sang again last night, a little bit of Sweet Home Chicago, and it wasn't any big deal, and it wasn't any good, and so I'm not using it because I can tell the difference between something that is compelling to watch or to listen to than something that is not. And most television and radio stations simply do not possess that ability. Jennifer Aniston said she was okay doing nudity in her new movie Wanderlust. Now again, she shoots the nude scene, but now it turns out she has second thoughts and they took it out of the movie. So we're not going to see Jennifer Aniston naked. But she did shoot the scene. Actually, she later admitted she was nude only because her clothes had broken up with her. And once again, undeniable proof that the annual prayer breakfast that's put on every year by the mayor and attended by local media officials does not work because I'm still on the air. I'm still here. It was 133 years ago today, in 1879, that a guy by the name of F.W. Woolworth opened a 5 and dime store in Utica, New York. Woolworths. I got to tell you something. For 2 summers back in the early 1970s, I worked in the Midwest Distribution Center of the Woolworths warehouse up in Chicago. If you bought something in like 1973 and 74 from a Woolworths in St. Louis, there's a very, very good chance that I touched it. And I have nothing else to say about that. If that issue concerns you, I think the statute of limitations basically has run out. And it was 32 years ago today in 1980. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Al Michaels with the play-by-play of the Miracle on Ice as the United States Olympic hockey team finally beat up on the Ruskies. All right, birthdays today. Rachel Dratch from Saturday Night Live is 46. You probably know this story, but when 30 Rock shot the pilot, the role that is currently played by Jane Krakowski from Ally McBeal was played by Rachel Dratch. And when they shot the demo for it, the pilot, the network came back and said, not cute enough, no. And so they got Jane Krakowski. So then their plan and the friendship between Tina Fey and Rachel Dratch sort of cut in there, and they were going to use her as a different character in every episode, but that got shot down after only 12 episodes. Rachel Dratch, 46 today, and how'd you like that hanging over your head? It was like back in 1970 when ABC told Keith Jackson, who was the original play-by-play guy for Monday Night Football, that he wasn't attractive enough to women. So they brought in Frank Gifford. Walking around Keith Jackson going, chicks don't find me attractive. It's a hell of a thing to have to carry around. And Don Pardo is in Live from New York. I can't do it. He has my sore throat here. Don Pardo is 94. He does all of his announcements now from his home in Phoenix, Arizona, which means it ain't actually, really think about it, it ain't actually live from New York, is it? All right, we got the Oscars coming up on Sunday, the Academy Awards, and JC's Eye Candy today is sort of a testament to that. My old friend Gene Siskel, I call him my old friend because long before his network show and his syndicated show and stuff like that went on the air with Roger Ebert back in the primarily the early 1980s, I had been watching Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert as local movie critics for the television affiliates in Chicago. So by the time they went national with their syndication deal, and before that, they were syndicated through the public broadcasting stations, I already had been watching these guys for years. So later on, when we would take the crew up to Chicago for the Cub Cardinal weekends, primarily back in the 80s, I would always call Gene Siskel, and he was always so gracious with his time. And we'd go up there, we would, talk for the interview, and we'd talk movies a little bit, and talk on the phone once in a while. And he was, he got a kick out of me for some reason. And Gene Siskel didn't get along with a lot of people, but for some reason he liked me. And he passed away, I think it was 13 years ago, earlier this week, as a matter of fact. And I got to tell you something. If you like the way I talk about movies, then really you owed a debt of gratitude to Gene Siskel, because in talking with him in our many discussions, I learned how to watch a movie. It sounds simple. You go to see it, watch the movie, and tell people whether you like it or not. But it's much more complicated than that if you're going to do a good job. And if you don't care what sort of job, you just go, I really liked it. It was good. I'll give it 4 stars. Well, that doesn't tell anybody anything. Knowing what to look for, what the important, compelling elements are in a film, what to look for and what to spot if something's there, or more importantly, sometimes if something's not there. I learned so much from my conversations with Gene Siskel. So we found an old picture from up in Chicago in 1988. There's me and there's Mike Bush and there's Gene Siskel, and you can look right at it on JC's Eye Candy. And I miss the guy. I learned a lot from him. All right, back to the rock and roll poll for today. 6 years ago, it was Gretchen Wilson basically taking the country music world by storm, and since then, not so much. What do you think of Gretchen Wilson? Is she ever going to come back? Please answer in the corner, and I have results for you tomorrow. Of course, JC and Trish every day from noon till 3 on the Big 550 KTRS. We hope to talk to you then. And in the meantime, that's it. The Daily Dose for Wednesday, February 22nd, 2012. A combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Clayton. And in the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.